Brian, welcome. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Is it okay? It's a good evening, and it's an
Well, it's
evening again.
afternoon for me. What time is it
Oh,
there
it's
for you
happening
now?
for you. Okay, you're lucky. My stomach is full. I've just had dinner an hour ago, so I'm almost bedtime for me too.
All right. So
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to us about what is it you want to share with us?
Okay. So good afternoon, good morning, good day to everyone who is on the panel today. And it's my opportunity and pleasure to speak to you all about the environment and where do Black gay men fit. So let me start by saying my name is Brian Kanyemba, as Antoine was saying, and I work for an organization called Advocates for Prevention of HIV in Africa, where I had the key population prevention and treatment portfolio. And I'm also a key population techno advisor on HIV prevention for a development partner. And this work I'm doing it in East Africa. But today I'm not going to talk about HIV prevention and treatment. I just want to talk about something else. Literally, where do the LGBTIQ and Black gay men fit in our context as African, and in our context and in our neighborhoods? And it's a very contextual topic, but I'll try by all means, since I'm an HIV prevention expert, not a human rights expert, but try to come out with issues that we are facing as the LGBTIQ community in this continent. So to start with, the society describes the LGBTIQ. We are given names. We are deemed as weak, rare, outcasts, deviants, rapists. They even call us pedophiles. The names are endless. But I would always say, what does it mean to a gay man and facing all these names in Africa? I know that earlier today in the morning, Craig Panel captured issues around self-actualization. But I would really argue in my discussion and say, if the society view us as deviants, if I just said, how would a Black gay man or the LGBTQ bisexual woman or a lesbian woman self-actualize, a trans woman self-actualize in Africa? Let me give a bit of a background about our situation here. Since time immemorial, discussions around stigma and discrimination have been the hot topic from the human rights angle for years. According to ILGA, only 7 countries in Africa have laws that protects individuals against discrimination based on their sexual orientation. Hear this out. 3 countries have neutral and laws that protect against discrimination, but the rest, 44 countries, still discriminate same-sex practice. And where still, there is death penalty in the northern Sharia environment in Nigeria, in Mauritania, Somalia, and Sudan. So food for thought when it comes to me as a gay man, if I visit those areas in those neighborhoods and I'm holding another man, my boyfriend, my partner, my sexual partner for that night, I might face death penalty. So in short, how will I live? Specifically to be who I want to be without my life being cut short. It's food for thought. Now, irrespective of what has been happening, our education system in the continent have developed or added some curricula, specifically because of what my colleagues were saying from Asia in specific, to educate health professionals, legal entities in different parts of Africa, besides the legalization in those few countries that I've mentioned. For example, In South Africa, the medical training now includes sexual orientation and human rights. In all PEPFAR and Global Fund countries in Africa, they are now including gay men and trans community in health service delivery. In essence, this is because of the funding that are coming with the connotation. But the real discussion when it comes to safety, acceptance, non-discriminatory laws, they don't exist. However, this platform has opened discussion on same-sex practices in even countries like Uganda, northern Nigeria, and even in very hostile environment in the MENA region. So why do we still feel that we are still stagnant and there's no hope when it comes to Black Africans? So in this juncture, let's have a real discussion on real topics that are relevant now and examine what those topics are, what we are facing as Black gay men, which platforms are we having the discussions, and where is this really happening? In Africa, we have the African Union, which is supposed to have an office that discusses pass laws on sexual orientation and human rights. But this office is by name or hiring experts who themselves, they don't even understand about gay men and human rights and sexual orientation or the LGBTQ. Some few years I was in Côte d'Ivoire in Ivory Coast, and I had to walk out of a meeting. I felt infuriated by that situation that I faced, because the captains or the leaders within this same office of the African Union were not even aware of the LGBTQ people. I was embarrassed by the leaders who were in that room, and I had to walk out. I couldn't believe that. What a shame. But I will get into this discussion later when I'm talking about political populism. So let me turn around a little bit and talk about the life of a gay Black man. And I want to paint a picture of a Black gay man who's not like me, who lives in Cape Town, but that boy or that young man who's growing up in the rural parts of Africa, which makes most of our 70% of the African community. This morning, we had a number of the LGBT community have passed on, and not only from COVID, but the top of the list was suicide. In our continent, one of the issues that is affecting us so much, more than HIV that I do and work in those programs every day, is suicide. Those young people, they don't have anyone to talk to about their sexual orientation, and they don't have anyone to turn to because they are stuck into societal norms and are confused with the religious ideologies. I was lucky that one day, some few years ago, when I was rather young than I am today, I was listening to the radio on a popular program in my country of birth, Zimbabwe, and there was a prominent discussion about sexual matters. And someone from, still remember that night, that is possibly about 25 years ago, from Gays and Lesbian Association of Zimbabwe, and they were discussing about sexual attraction. That was news in my ears, and it was on a radio, and I couldn't even believe this is happening in my community, in my area. And my life changed that day. I knew that I was not alone. And a few years later, I reached out to Gays and Lesbian Association of Zimbabwe for support. And that saved me from suicide. So how many young people out there are facing, don't have access to any information? So let's look around us deeply in this, on this platform, and think deeply. How many related stories of suicide are among young gay men? Let me jump a little bit and talk about substance abuse. You know, that feeling of feeling irate, feeling good, not thinking of any problems, or the hidden feelings of that boy next door. You know, scientists write papers and articles about substance abuse. Here is one of the common article snippets that I've come across. Open inverted commas. By the way, the qualitative outcomes of this study shows 7 in 10 gay men have a problem with substance abuse. And the recommendation is for them to go to a rehab to solve this problem. Problem, close inverted commas. Problem, really? Ladies and gentlemen, we have to deal with the problem. The problem is not substance abuse, but we are trying to hide from the real problem, which is me, my sexual orientation, and what I am facing in the environment that doesn't support who I am. It's so sad that when you are walking around in our communities in Africa, you saw teens and specifically trans women, teens, and gay men highly intoxicated, sleeping on the pavement. Of course, this might be even normal in all these spheres in the world, but it's so sad that we should be dealing with the issues of our sexual orientation, of acceptability, not substance abuse. That is not the issue. We have to deal with this situation as Africans, not to wait for a big bowl of funding coming from our former colonizers or development partners. Antoine mentioned some few minutes ago with the Asian Pacific teams about the religious ideology. We have our beautiful customs in Africa, as I said above, but the turn of the century, last century, in the 1800s, from the 1850s going upwards, Christianity, Islam, and other religions were introduced onto the African continent. Before then, it's interesting that we were living in a community where we were accepting individuals, no matter who they have their sex on. I'll look on that later. But when it comes to Christianity, it has been used to cause more divisions among us, the LGBT community. One of the most ridiculous myths about religion is that homosexuality did not exist in the continent until white men imported it. Really? I talked about myself listening to a radio, and I realized I owned someone. And then we didn't have any TV, we didn't have anything else. And I just listened to the radio that there are same-sexual people. Really? Was that imported from by a white man? So my former and President Robert Mugabe said and called homosexuality as an African a white disease, that we are worse than pigs and dogs. It's said that some leaders think about this. Thus, Christian and Islamic forces have fought to eliminate this unnatural act and left trails of homophobia. We have had, especially in the MENA region and the Arab states, where gay men are being killed every day, thrown over balcons, or some other atrocities done to them. In Uganda, when the anti-homosexual bill was being discussed some few years ago, some Christian right wings described and agreed with this anti-homosexual bill, and we're agreeing with the general goals that the bill was okay, that gays and lesbians should be killed. That was coming from the Christian perspective. So society should actively speak about these issues, about what Christianity is saying, and literally look into how best should we move forward. Is that 10 minutes or 1 minute, Antoine? It's zero. Is it 10 minutes? You can say it's okay.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I still have got time. I still have got time. So literally giving another example again about again another prominent religious leader in Uganda, a former pastor, and who affiliate himself with Scotland, as I have just said, was actually showing gay pornography in his church, and saying that, do you see these shocking images of explicit sexual? These people worse than dogs, and trying to perpetuate hate on my body as a gay man. Let me move a little bit to the issue of poverty. I'm trying to build that self-actualization that I've been describing. It is most unfortunate that Black Africans have been born in almost poverty. More ways, when it comes to the Black men, we rely on our parents or our guidance. Let me tell you something. The social context in our African families specifically expected us as cis men to be included in the family social context. I am expected to get married, live in a white picketed fence with kids running around. Of course, I can adopt, but that is a no-no when it comes to the African context. I am, and they always say, you are going to bring evil spirits coming from that baby or child that you have adopted, because we don't know where they are coming from. I'm expected to go through ritual practices that embrace my manhood. I'm expected to form and fit into the gendered world of men, to follow the roles, the prospects, the expectations of a man. But I'm a man. I'm looking like a man. I feel like a man. I'm attracted to men. This is who I am. I just love a man. Now, let me go into something that is more exciting to hear. And this is the gay sexualized community and gay scene in my continent. I love the internet, especially in the turn of the new millennium in our African world. With just a click, I can watch beautiful gay men having sex. I can get a 1 cent via numerous gay apps. But hold on, we love sex of our head a lot, but for crying out, beside that 10 minutes of glory, we still have got the whole day of a life to, exalt and to be able to do what we want with our own life. I have several friends on WhatsApp groups, and their main topic is always to discuss about sex and sexual expertise and explorations and what they can do to each other. I've tried, and I'm still trying, but I'm failing dismally to discuss about other good things in lives, such as jobs, education, entrepreneurship. Our minds are really stuck into getting laid. This is the same across the globe, I know. But here's the deal. We are not just sexualized human beings. We can do better than about ourselves, right? To build confidence, to be able as individuals to be responsive around us. So to end, I want to go back to the political populism that I described a little bit. And I talked a little bit about that it is deemed that we have imported gayism or homosexuality. But I want to give you some contextual and real example. When religion came into play, we were all confused. They confused the whole continent because it came with the occupation of Africa in the last century. Now, let me give you a good example. In the Yoruba language in Nigeria, a homosexual is called an adofuro, which describes someone who has sex among Yorubas in Nigeria. It might mean to be discriminatory, but it shows that homosexuality has been practiced for years among the Yorubas. Let me talk about the modern day Uganda. King Mwanga II was openly gay and faced no hate from his subjects until white men brought the Christianity church and its condemnation. When you go and visit some of our caves in Africa, the Bushman artwork depicts men engaging in same-sex sexual activity since time immemorial, reinforcing the fact that populist homophobia has kept many of us blinded and not embracing the African African gay men. And literally, the discussion of homosexuality is being used to gain popularity in politics. And if you hate gay people in Africa, you can win votes. I can give an example of one president says publicly, I support gay people, but when I was a president, I couldn't say anything because I wanted votes. So to finalize, with all being said, when does the pipeline dream of sexualization starts? Let's create and start being involved and take leadership into these spaces and empower ourselves into economic strategies, especially among young and upcoming gay men. We are tired of being in need of capacity building. We can do it among ourselves. Let's have real involvement of Black gay professionals in Africa. Let's start to occupy political spaces in our different countries. Let's hold governments accountable, even the African Union accountable too. When was the last time as individuals in Africa, we got involved in policy transformation? So in a nutshell, we can self-actualize ourselves. We have got the power as Black gay men, but we have got a lot on our shoulders that we cannot self-actualize. So thank you so much. This was my short speech, and I think I was in the right 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian.